Am I doing it or are you doing it?
I'll do it.
Doesn't matter.
I'll do it. Welcome back, everybody,
Monday.
to Brown. It's Monday. Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Bag Bets, your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm not Alex Christensen. I am producer Dan. Noops. Noops took Mama Noops to the Knicks 76ers game yesterday, and is on his way home from the city. So he is taking a much needed and day off. So hopefully that was fun, but I'm assuming probably not because of how that game ended. Nevertheless, I'm here today with Andy, who is here as usual on Monday. How did you spend your weekend without football, Andy?
Bad fourth quarter. Yeah, I was watching that. And the funniest part was I just think my brain might be going to mush at this age, but like we went up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, which if people don't know, I live about an hour and a half from the good stuff up there with the family. I had to go to town earlier and the wife had to go to town for a volleyball thing. So we met in town. And when I say town, I mean the town I live near, which is 20 minutes from my home. So we just met there and left my truck sitting at my office, drove to the Twin Cities, had a lovely day. Kids got to go to the Mall of America, had some fun. And at that point, we left for the day, went home, drove all the way back to the farm and realized, like, oh, your vehicle's just sitting in town. We just fucking left it. So this all ties in. So then I said to my older kid, you're watching the younger kid. Me and the wife are going to go get a pizza and a couple glasses of wine at this place I like to go get my truck. And I ended up watching a lot of the Knicks game at this bar/Italian place. So it turned out all right. I guess I got to get some pizza and some pretty good bread there. But yeah, that not a great fourth quarter. I don't even look at the standings. Every day it's different. That's how standings work, Andy. But the Timberwolves win a game and it's like, oh, they're in the 4th seed. Then they don't play for a day. Oh, they're in the play-in game. So I'll check back into that when we get to like fucking March.
The Timberwolves are currently the 7 seed, ahead of the Warriors, who they probably aren't going to have to worry about for a while now that Steph Curry is hurt, which was a thing I didn't know happened. I was
4 weeks.
As a lower leg injury. And well, we know what happens to Draymond when Steph's not around. He tends to not care. So, they seem to be a team that is on their way down. But they're tied with the Mavericks, who made a trade of some significance yesterday, and a half game ahead of the Pelicans. And these standings are a mess.
I did. So I have an offshore book that some people have. It's the dumbest thing, and I've talked about this before. It's called sportsbook.ag, and you cannot sign up for it. They are still taking bets. They're still taking deposits. They're still cashing you out fairly quick. They offer Bitcoin both ways, in and out. They've kept up with the times. They just don't take new accounts, which makes no sense. It's not a good business model, I don't think. But they are one of the only sports books in the offshore world that has cash out buttons for everything. So when Kevin Durant was rumored to be traded in the preseason, I took a couple of Mavericks to win the title prices at a decent number, which instantly went to shit because they weren't that great. The number wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be, and Kevin Durant did not end up in Dallas. But now, because the market is steaming up for some reason, which I don't know enough about basketball to say that it should be, I can cash these out for a little bit of a profit. So, that's why you place 4 of them, so you can decide, because they don't let you do incremental cash outs. It's either all or nothing. So I did 4. It said this is how much I'm betting. I'm splitting it into 4, so I can cash out 2, I can cash out 3, 1, depending how much. I might probably just cash out all 4 because I don't think they honestly have a shot in hell. But taking a little profit will be nice. And let's we'll roll into Super Bowl week.
Yeah, I mean it's
Drew and I were kind of on the side talking about props. It's a little weird this year. There's the game state is hard to kind of put your finger on. We don't have a lot of information. There's the anthem over has been getting steamed, which I always agree is a dangerous game when you are not betting on the anthem with information. When you're just betting it with like I think this guy sings real slow because I've heard Tennessee Whiskey a bunch or whatever. So it's unique because we had this with Gladys Knight. The steam went one way traffic, and then the recital came out, and it turned out it was completely wrong. We were off by like 20 seconds at that point, and it had to come back very hard the other way. So I abstain. I know there's been steam in the Gatorade markets as well, but that's another one where hey, I have this information. You can bet to your little heart's content, knowing what color one team's Gatorade is, and they still have to win the game.
Right.
Dumping it on a loser. So it's we've seen heavy yellow steam. It's almost been confirmed that the Eagles are kind of a yellow team when it comes to their their electrolyte drinks of choice. So do what you want, but Dan, you had a couple you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I had a couple of for the game. One was one that came up in the Deep Dive DJ Discord that I liked, and one is just one that I like to bet every year because it's fun for me. That's one of my favorite ones.
Too.
So the one, I'll start with the one that came from the Discord. It's the Eagles 4th down conversions over 1.5 at plus 190. Like Matt, I'm a sucker for plus money props and bets, and the Eagles they attempted the 4th most 4th downs in the NFL this season, and they converted the 4th highest percentage of 4th downs this season because a lot of those were very short. And of course, everyone knows how good they are at sneaking the ball. When you talk about not knowing what the game state's going to be, I totally agree. I was kind of in the mindset with a lot of people that the Chiefs were going to win this game, like when the matchup was first announced. But the closer we get to the game, I'm wondering if the Eagles' advantage on both lines might just be too much for the Chiefs to overcome. I would expect that they're going to be aggressive. I don't think that Nick Sirianni is going to want to be giving Patrick Mahomes the ball a lot if he can avoid it. So I think they're going to be aggressive in this game. And if they can get into 3rd and short, that's going to give them opportunities to run the ball on 3rd down. We know how good they are at running the ball. We know how the Chiefs haven't really faced a great rushing offense yet this season. So I like that one there at plus 190. And the other one, I like to bet this over 2.5 players with a pass attempt at plus 150. I got that at DraftKings. It's a fun bet to make. I think both teams are going to be aggressive. Although I think, interestingly enough, like there's this idea that the Chiefs are a team that's going to empty the bag, so to speak. They have, and with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, he has been the only player to throw a pass in their Super Bowls since he's been in Kansas City in the previous appearances in the Super Bowl. But nevertheless, obviously we know Hurts and Mahomes are both going to throw the ball at least once. So you just need anybody else to throw a pass in this game. It hit last year. There was a gap for a few years after the Philly special year, and was it Edelman who threw it to Brady? Just off his fingertips. But there were a couple years where there wasn't one, and then it hit last year. So at plus 150, it's just fun. And I would say with like a lot of these props, I know we'll talk about it more on the deep dive tonight. I think a lot of this you have to kind of just decide that you're going to want to do these for fun. A lot of them, because you can handicap these things till your heart's content, and you can price shop, and you can find edges and value wherever you want. But for a lot of these, like Gatorade color, those ones in particular, those are just kind of, you have to just do those for fun because you can, like you said, you can analyze those till your heart's content. But at the end of the day, you need the game to go a certain way. I've bet on the first song of the halftime show. I was really interested in are they going to show this celebrity on the broadcast market? When you talk about steam, Bradley Cooper has taken a ton of steam there. I think Bradley Cooper was like minus 140 and now he's like minus 250 or something like that. So it's really fun to bet that kind of stupid stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's a thing. They do that, and these broadcasts are so long. There's so many gaps in coverage and stuff. Like they do show a lot of people in the stands, and he gets on Eagles broadcast quite a bit. And Henny threw a couple passes this season. Obviously, he threw a couple in the playoff. Tommy Townsend, the punter, did throw one. I feel like there's a controversy. Maybe somebody can correct me, even if they can't do it right now. If they can maybe hit me up later in the DGen Discord. I feel like there was a controversy on the over 2.5 passers one year because it was like a botched extra point. And that guy, he just picked it up and like lobbed it, and it doesn't count because it's not, it's not a play, it's a conversion attempt. I don't remember how that worked because I don't know that stuff counts on your, because I feel like a touchdown counts if it's a fake extra point, which would be nuts at this point because you're kicking from like 20 yards back. But if he picks up the ball and he throws it, that's a touchdown, right? So maybe I just get shit for brains right now.
Wasn't it last year? And it was like on a kick attempt, there was like a bobbled snap or something like that. And the holder got up and threw the ball, and they didn't count it. Yeah, they didn't count it, but then eventually someone threw a pass. Like the Rams had someone throw a pass, and it hit. Leg Show saying Pat McAfee said the kickoff is rarely a touchback because the first ball is very hard. This was a whole thing last year. Like it got bet to all hell, and then it ended up being a touchback. So. Yeah. That's another one that was like really popular last year because it was like one of those, ooh, this is a thing every year. And then Pat McAfee with his millions of followers and his show brought it up on his show last year and it got bet like crazy. And then it ended up being a touchback. So, be careful with that kind of stuff.
That was one too where it's like, oh shit, I missed the number on that. I didn't end up betting it. So when it hit, I'm like, oh, well, good for me. So, and there are some people, I know some people are able to do some things with some, I don't want to call it hedging. It's more middling and arbitrage with some of these cross sport props.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to offer, just over on Bookmaker right now, it's Philadelphia 76ers 3-pointers made, plus 7.5 to Jalen Hurts total completions. If you guys know some people that are good with some of that stuff, player prop stuff, and you can find off market numbers maybe in some of that, you can find yourself with some nice middles, or you can just have yourself in a spot where, I need Jalen. Well, and the thing is too, if you end up getting a really high number of 3-point field goals made or something along, or really low, depending on which side you're betting, and then you say, well, I need Jalen Hurts to complete like 9 passes or something. At that point, you can take the under and find yourself in the middle on his actual total. So I know people that do that every year, and I will bet some stuff eventually, but it's been pretty light for me so far. Like Dan said, we'll talk about that on the deep dive tonight. All right. Taking on a juggernaut in the SWAC.
Uh-oh.
Actually, you know what? I think Alcorn State is I'm going to put this right here. 10:42 a.m. Central, 2-6. Alcorn State will be your SWAC March Madness entrant. They will win the conference tournament. Southern is ahead of them. Southern is better, I guess, by some metrics, but give me that offense. Give me that hot, nasty offense. So Alcorn State, RIP Steve McNair, that's where he went. There's some good SWAC players in the league over the years. That's the only reason anybody knows where that school is. But that's not who I'm betting. I'm betting against Southern with Alabama State. I took a 6. I'm guessing there's some, because I found a really cheap 6, like minus 101. There are some cheap 6.5. So I'm guessing if you looked out there, it's not been a very good offense. It's okay. Been okay in the defense. Some of the scheduling stuff around this, again, we're deeper into conference play here. So I think some of that stuff has been sussed out. We've played like 10 games in conference, but Southern hasn't been great on the road. They've lost to a couple of pretty crappy teams here. It's funny, both on Saturdays, and then I guess they beat the shit out of Florida A&M 3 Saturdays ago. But coming off a loss on the road, second straight road game here against Alabama State, which I said again is not a very good team, but I'm not a big fan of the Southern rebounding stats. Not a big fan of some of their defensive stats against, just basically shooting, effective field goal percentage, some of that. So I have this as like a 4. I think this is not in Baton Rouge. Where's Alabama State? Anybody? Montgomery, Alabama.
In Alabama.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have one today. Last time I gave out a winning basketball pick, though, I think Kyrie was still on a different team, and it wasn't Friday for that. But
yeah, I got super confused. I wanted to go look at the standings.
Is it in Vegas?
I think so. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's one of those things where most things that are illegal in Las Vegas aren't really that illegal. It's mostly just like, whereas something is very illegal in other countries or states or cities, municipalities, some of those things in Vegas, like, it's just frowned upon. Like, don't flaunt it, guys.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, how far out do you have to go? I mean, I've only been to Vegas one time. I don't know how far you have to go to like the Bunny Ranch. How far is that from Vegas? Just saying, like,
that is a, and I will. This isn't a hey, a friend told me this so far. It's like legitimately, because it's like an hour and a half, I guess.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, people have said like everyone's pumped and you go out there and then it's the longest, most awkward ride home ever. Like, why did you go in a group? That'd be a weird thing to come back from, but no, it'll be interesting. That's a Super Bowl worth heading out to, even if you don't go to the game, which I don't think I'll ever want to go to a game.
Yeah, I can't, like, if the Falcons go again. So the very sad thing is in 2012, I said, because this was my Facebook memories the other day, that I would go if the Falcons ever made the Super Bowl again. I would go to Atlanta with my dad, or I would take my dad to the game. And the joke I made was by the time they make it back to the Super Bowl, I would be able to afford it because it's going to be a long time away. Obviously, they made it in 2017. And I did not. I had a really big work thing the next day, so I couldn't go to the Super Bowl that year. We know what happened. So, like,
they didn't win.
They did not win that Super Bowl. You might remember that they had a big lead and they blew it. So, yeah, man. Like, if the Falcons are in it, maybe I'd want to go someday again, depending on where it is. But if it's not, like, I don't like going to pro football games anyway. Like, regardless of who, like, it's a great TV sport.
It really is. And I feel like all year I make the excuse that I want to have Red Zone on, and I'd like to watch all the games. So you can't do that if you go to an NFL game. I don't think that's it. I still just want to watch it on TV. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to just watch we can't say Super Bowl. You gotta say big game.
The big game. It is the big game.
True. No, nobody's suing me. So, all right. Yeah. What else do we got? Golf continues. By the way, we'll get to soccer quick, but golf continues as we had wind delays. We had hail, which is funny. Speaking of going to events, I was going to go to the AT&T Pro-Am this week. Didn't work out with some childcare and personal issues. We had to just scrap this vacation, but I was going to go there, and my wife was kind of sad that we didn't end up. So I cheered her up by showing the hail that they had at Pebble Beach the other day. But so, there are a bunch of delays. And the fact was, it's not a good tournament to end up with any bad weather in, because the rounds take 6 hours anyway with the amateurs. Yeah. So we are still playing golf this morning here. And it looks like Justin Rose still has 6 holes left. Brendan Todd right on his heels, 1 stroke back with 3 to go. Peter Malnati and Keith Mitchell still in the course within striking distance. Looks like it's Rose's to lose, but we'll be cheering. We are Todd fathers here.
Todd fathers.
Let's go. Noonan has Todd, so it'd be real funny if Justin Rose did something stupid. We'll get to the waste management in a second, but what were you really heartened by yesterday's results?
Not super heartened necessarily by yesterday's result, because Tottenham always seems to play well at home against Manchester City. A guy I follow on Twitter, a friend of mine, is a big Man City fan, and he always makes that joke about. He said he does believe that there could be a year where City could go undefeated in every game except for lose at Tottenham. But this is more a bet that has to do with the news that came out today about Manchester City. So if you are unaware, Manchester City was charged with 100 counts of financial impropriety. So they are under a serious strain from the English Premier League about their financial dealings, cooking the books, making impermissible payments to their players, all different kinds of things. And so I was looking at ways to fade them. This could be some people have suggested they might be relegated, which I highly doubt will happen. I do think that if this is settled this year, a point deduction is a very real possibility. We saw that happen with Juventus in Serie A. They got a 9-point deduction this year. So Manchester City could be facing a point total deduction down the road. So basically, I wanted to find a way to bet on this, and it kind of came down to whose team did I want to mush, because there's a chance that this couldn't happen. Like, there's a chance that nothing's going to happen. There's a title race, and the Premier League might not just want to hand Arsenal a title necessarily. So it couldn't happen. It could happen. I don't know. So it kind of came down to whose team did I want to mush? Do I want to mush Reed's team, Tottenham? Reed is the CEO of BetSperts, a very big Tottenham fan, or our friend Rico DeGaio, who has been a frequent guest on Brown Bag Bets, who's an Arsenal fan. Also, the best price I found on Arsenal to finish top to win the Premier League was -140. That's still a lot of juice to lay, even though they do have a nice lead and a game in hand. They've been playing exceptionally well this year, even though they did lose to Everton this weekend. But Tottenham to finish in the top 4 at +175 is the bet that I placed. And they're only a point behind Newcastle right now. They're in 5th, a point back of Newcastle, who does have a game in hand. But Newcastle has only won one of their last. They haven't lost, but they've only won one of their last 5 Premier League games. That's 1 win and 5 draws. They also haven't scored more than a goal in any of their games. They're a very good defensive team. They've been a very good defensive team all year, but their goal output has started to decrease significantly. Tottenham hasn't played particularly well most of the season. They've been kind of up and down throughout the season, but with 1 point back, even though, like I said, the game in hand does belong to Newcastle there at +175, I figured it was worth a shout. They could catch Newcastle anyway. And if Manchester City catches a deduction, then this is almost assuredly going to happen. So, taking some plus money on it there. Tottenham, Premier League top 4 finish at +175 was something that I just wanted to kind of play, knowing that Manchester City might be facing some kind of deduction. They will be unable to appeal any decision. Like, they got a ban from UEFA, or they got a ban from playing in UEFA competitions a couple years ago, or last year, but that got rescinded. But this one they can't appeal. So whatever decision comes down, they're going to have to deal with it. Feels like if they get punished, it'll be a point deduction, and who knows how many. But yeah, so it kind of feels like they're going to get something, but they might also wait until next year because we're more than halfway through the season.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
But you're still getting +175 on this. I mostly just need Wolves to get their shit together and start losing again. They have a -15 goal differential, yet we're winning 2 out of the last 3. What are we doing here? I went back through mid-season. I go back through all my stupid EPL futures I placed. I have a Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves treble, all to be relegated. So the Everton win was nice.
Yeah.
And I guess Leeds has given up because they're only signing American players. Like, that's a sure sign of giving up. So I need
Wolves.
Fire the manager. I need Wolves. Yeah, you get the manager bump. So I need Wolves to start losing because that was 80-1 apparently. So let's go. This sucks. You got to cheer for I'm cheering for Everton, Leeds, West Ham, and Leicester. And then I need Wolves to shit the bed. And I don't think Bournemouth and Southampton are coming out of the basement at this point. Like, those two are probably just going down.
Those teams have been struggling. The Wolves is 2 points clear of Everton right now.
Oh, I do have a Bournemouth straight up to finish bottom as well at 2-1. So I guess I'm cheering for Southampton a little bit to just sneak ahead.
Yeah, one more win finish with one more win.
We have 19 weeks of this to figure this out. So, and then golf will continue, and Justin Rose is being a pain in the ass. He's just gonna win, I guess.
Drop a shot. Come on, man.
How far are the Mavericks going this year? Let's put a pin in that leg show. We'll put that as a user question of the day tomorrow for Noops. So I think he'll have better opinions on that. But I have not seen a lot of strong opinions like this is what's going to fix this team. So I guess,
everything that they became a much worse defensive team. Like, Dorian Finney-Smith is actually a very good defender. So they've become a worse defensive team. I wonder how the usage rate for both Luka and Kyrie works when you have two guys who are ball dominant players. So we'll ask Noops. I'll put that in the rundown for tomorrow for Noops to talk about when he's back with Matt tomorrow. So tune in for that.
Having a shooter's nice, but your defense got worse. So I guess you're going to need to win games by scoring 125, which is a more fun brand of basketball. And then, a more fun brand of golf is played in the desert. If anyone's ever seen shots of this, we have the 16th. You have the stadium. It's everything about this is cool. And not only that, but they made this an elevated event. Look at these bleeping names. There's it was 24 of the top 25, I think, who are eligible to play in this are in. Because it's not only a great event, it's a fun event. It's a decent TPC course, but there's a ton of money to be made by winning this. And that's why you did see some people skip the Pro-Am not play last week because they're just like, well, I'm going to head to Phoenix and start warming up. Hopefully there's some courses down in the Arizona area for them to warm up on. I'll double check into that when I head down there. It seems like a place where golf courses would do all right. But yeah, Rory, Rahm, Colin, Patrick Cantlay, Xander, JT, Scotty, Homa. I mean, that's your top 8. They did a shitload of majors just between those guys, a shitload of wins last year between those guys. And yeah, it's going to be tough. This is probably not a spot where I'm going to take some long shots. You do got to plant your flag on 2 or 3 guys that are basically in the top 15 of the names here and hope for the best. Hopefully matchups just hash out all right for me because this is it's a really hard one to figure out.
Man.
You just do TPC Lee first round leader, pick a couple of these guys near the top you think can putt well this week, and then call it a day and watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Rory, I think, has only played once in the last 5 years at this event. And I mean, I think he finished in the top 15, so it was fine. Scotty won it last year. Rahm's played well. Xander's played really well here. Like Xander, just looking at some of like the course history stuff, Xander's an interesting name. But like you said, it's fun, and it's the one event of the year that is just so different from everything else that they do in the sport with the crowd and on 16 and all that kind of stuff. So the closing stretch at this course is really fun too. Like the last few holes are really fun. So it's a great event.
Second only to the 3M. Well, I like the closing hole. I like the closing holes at the 3M because you had Tony taking it off the backboard on 17.
Yeah,
almost screwing it up several times. That's fun. But yeah, I will be down there Thursday, probably Friday. If anyone's down there, swing by, say hi. I won't buy you a drink. I can't. Like, what if like 10 people do that? Drinks are like $19 on the golf course.
We'll come up with a secret.
I'm gonna need to hit the walking. It's not walking stick. I feel like it's talking stick. That's what I'm trying to say. The casino. I'm gonna have to have a craps run if I do
talking
that,
stick. So. It's talking stick casino. We'll come up with a code word, or the first person to come up to you and whisper ever so softly "Bet Spurts Golf" at the golf course. We'll get a drink. Because I think the idea of a complete stranger whispering Bet Spurts Golf in your ear is kind of hilarious and creepy. So
stranger danger. All right. Well, I won't be back tomorrow because it's Tuesday and I'm doing a golf show. Noops and Maddie talking some hockey, basketball, that jazz. I'll be doing the deep dive tonight. If you want to check that out, we'll get into some of the prop world. And God, I probably won't be around Wednesday either. I'll be flying. So I'll catch you guys tonight. I'll catch you guys Wednesday. I'm going to try to do some brown bagging from the desert. I don't know what time zone they are. It's very confusing. They don't do daylight savings. So it's I think 9:30 a.m. It's mountain time there.
Yeah, I looked it up the other day because I was curious for your schedule.
It's very off-putting how it's mountain time. It should be West Coast.
Should be.
For my liking. So anyway, I got a meeting here in 2 minutes. So that's it. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Thanks, Dan, for hopping on today. And thanks to you guys for being in the chat and hit the thumbs up. Bye, guys.